Hey babes, let's take a look at this baby once more. However, I did not really discuss this one properly with you, and uh, if I understand correctly, I think it's back in stock. So I thought what I would care most about are these repeat shades that are just very similar. How are they different, and so on and so forth. So let's do a teeny tiny very subtle look. I mean, that's just how I usually also wear my makeup, so you're not getting any very intricate, bold, 4 different shades type of looks from me. But I think if that's your jam as well, I always enjoy when someone is reviewing and demoing makeup the way that I would like to apply it as well. Oop, no, I didn't hurt her. I did not hurt you, baby. So as I said last time, that I was very surprised and a little disappointed that this guy here is not a matte shade. It has some reflection that I would describe as a very, very faint peachy shift. I'm not sure if this is a good... Can I adjust this a little bit so you are getting a bit better lighting? Is this better? Maybe. So this has a bit of a warm shift. It's not a matte. I did complain, but as I said, if you know what it is, it's more fun. So I did wear this one as well as, by the way, so let's touch on the reds just real quick. So these red shades are special in my eyes because now I did complain that this one was not necessary because these two looked very similar mixed to this one alone. However, I wore this one on the lid and this shade in the crease, and I really loved the way it looked. So I have to take it back. And if I see correctly, these red shades are, they have these red shimmers in them, the red pearlescence. And this one does not have red shimmers. It's I think it might be a mix of a warm, almost golden pearlescence, maybe. So let me show you the difference. This is the brighter red shade. So let me try to demo this, or at least detect. So the bright red has a red pearlescence, only red pearlescence, which, as I said, is not as usual. Now this one, the more rusty shade, is it has also red rosy pearlescence, but as I saw that correctly, it also has some warm, a bit golden, yes, I'd call it, I mean, it is so incredibly subtle. It's hard to even detect these shades, you know what I mean? It's not like you put it on and you see golden shimmer, not at all. So please don't get me wrong. It's just a very, very subtle character to these shades. So therefore, yes, I see that it's a rosy red pearlescence in the bright red, and here we have a warm one with essentially, of course, is shifting the shade to this rusty red. And then this lighter shade. Yes, I'd almost call it a semi-matte shade. Yes, I'd have to call it a semi-matte shade, but it's still, you know, it has this, it still looks matte when I show you this one. Does it have any shifter when I do this? I'm not sure. However, it has a very, very subtle, how do you call it? Like chiffon, like velvet maybe. It's a very tamed shift. You know what I mean? So yes, let's move on from that one because I also wanted to touch on all these brown shades. Hold on. So you probably guessed it that these shimmers, these ultra fine shimmers, this nano level of minuscule, it's a pearlescence, all right? So let's start there. And I thought that there were many more matte shades, while yeah, I thought these brown shades were all mattes, but they're not. The only brown matte shade is this one, this guy here. That one is matte, and if you know the Byredo formula, it still has some, you might want to call it a luminous matte. It has some luminosity to it because it's not that dead flat dry matte, all right? And but even this darker one, it has some, there is some shimmer elements to it, but not visible ones. Okay, it's not a shimmer, and well, it's probably a satin, therefore. So these are satins. Let's settle there. And what else did I want to mention about these? Let me catch my thoughts. Oh yeah, this I wanted to mention that I should have held it up, but I can post it later on. There are very thin, sleek, very simplified Maybelline palettes. I think it's a 10-pan palette. They're called nudes, blush nudes, and so on. There are different ones. I have the sorry, neutral nudes or whatever it is. And these are very, very good quality, and they're made in Italy. And the way they sit in the pan, the structure they show, as well as how flat they're pressed into it. As now, I did not, well, no, I think I looked at the ingredients and they are not quite comparable, but the way these behave and feel and look is so similar to Byredo. So if you know, if this breaks the bank, or if you just want to get an idea of what they feel like, these little Maybelline palettes get very close. And I'll also say they're much better for traveling. I wouldn't travel. Oh, you probably already know that these are very delicate. I'm glad this arrived safe. There are one or two shades where I already see that, you know, there's a bit of a separation here on the sides. And so I can imagine, as people said, you have to store it flat so that shades would not fall out of their pans. I assume they would just lose a bit of moisture with time, and then, you know, they suck together, dry up a little bit, and then they fall out. So do not travel with her. She's awful to travel with, a real nightmare she is. And so, I mean, if you're in love with this formula, you might want to grab these Maybelline palettes as well, you know, as a better travel companion. Now back to this lady. Yeah, as I said, I couldn't figure this out looking online. This one is matte, this one is matte, this one is matte, this one is matte, this one and the rest is satins. And I mean, the shimmers you can detect by yourself, right? So we have normal shimmers like this one and this one, and these are also rather normal ones. And then we have uh, amped up shimmers like um, these two, and this one is super, super high shine, almost like a bit liquid metal type of shimmer. And this one, this formula isn't that far off from, or it's very comparable to this creamy, what did I call it, like gel like, really creamy formula that we have in the new Pat McGrath Gilded Nirvana Holiday Palette. That Pat McGrath showed us also Italian formula made in Italy, that she also had in her 5 pans holiday little quints before. That Charlotte Tilbury had in her 9 pans in these beautifying eye palettes. See how I remember all this crap, that's amazing. These long names. And what else? Yes, Too Faced also has some palettes made in Italy with this formula, and so on and so forth. So it's not, it's a it's a pretty amazing, unique formula, but there's more and more brands getting into this. So now let's finally talk about these repaint shades, these browns. I mean, this one I don't have to touch on, but here we have a section with rather almost rosy pearlescence. Oops, sorry. So as I said, this has a bit of a, this one has a bit of a peachy rosy shift to it. And this one is more rosy. It has also rosy pearlescence, while these two have a warm, again, you're not ending up with any gold shimmer on your eyes, but these are satins based on some warmer golden pearlescence, I call it, these three. So you do have, it's a bit sectioned and organized, so you know you have here some with the warmer pearlescence. And then we have here, yes, here this trio with rosy pearlescence, and yeah, and these ones have red one. And now that we're already talking about it, of course this one has a white, cool silvery pearlescence, obviously. Now let's, I mean, now I have this one, but I mean, this has definitely rosy pearlescence. Let's take a look at this one. What are you? This is a warmer one. And let me also, yeah, come on. Here I have one more finger. So you see them side by side. Up. This, yeah. So now let me look at it more closely. I mean, these are almost not even satins, but semi-mattes. It's so subtle, but you know, this luminosity is there. One is definitely warmer, and the other one is just a hair more rosy. But I'll say I can barely tell them apart here. So Yeah, I think these brown shades are definitely much overlap in this palette. However, considering that you need more of these type of crease shades for whatever looks you're doing with this palette, it also makes sense that there's more of it. Just like, you know, some highlighting and crease shades when they get 2 or even 3 times the pan size to balance out a palette. So yeah, um I do not love big palettes, so I would I would much prefer to get less shades. Also, I mean, now let's not pick apart everything, but yeah, you know, actually, I do love the way their quints look. These little oyster shells look so beautiful, so yeah, so special, and I just wish it was the same formula. Now I would have tried it myself if there was any color story that really spoke to me. I got the impression from, you know, reviews, or let's say I asked Lexi, so what's with these quints, and she just her opinion was that they are not as consistent in quality, and so I'll definitely try if they came out with a color story that really, you know, checks checks those boxes that, no, I'm lost in this sentence, forget about it, it's stupid. I would like to keep it very subtle today. I don't know how many times I could tell you that. Now maybe well, I'm more feeling a brown, but I don't want to. I think these brown shades, I mean, they are so similar, so all of them basically, they all look very, very cool. As a almost as a one and done, even that's a very beautiful look. Now let me think a second. You know what else? I thought that this shade is very ugly. It's almost reminiscent of the Omega shade by MAC. I usually would avoid a bit these type of shades because they look a little dead, not healthy, you know. But I think that this in the crease and a bit of this on the lid is actually an interesting combination and look. So, but that's not what I'm doing today because this is just every day, and let me just start here. Oh, do you see? No, let's do something different. So there's a lash. I'm not telling you. So it's the same shade. Do you see better like this? Now, when I swatched it to detect what type of shimmers there are in my, I guess, very dry palms, it looked very semi-matte, but this is a satin. It's, no, it is, you know, it is a, I think the base shade is a rather almost mustard yellow leaning base shade, but with, I think, with rosy shimmer or rosy pearlescence too. I go directly onto my lash line, so there's just very little product catching onto my bottom lash line. I won't go into product and do it like this, because if I put too much color here, I already have a pronounced crease here. So if I darken it even further, it's not very cute. Same goes for my crease here. You see I have deep set eyes. I already have a very visible crease here that has darkness. So I usually, my crease shades, I tend to put them here to elongate the eye a bit, to, you know, to snatch that tired face up a little bit. So I really like this. You know, it looks very effortless and cool. If I dare to call myself. Like, I'm just, you know, referring to the eyeshadow. Yeah, drag it out a little bit into this direction. Sure, let's do that. And, you know, I think, yeah, you know, since this one is just a hair darker than these other ones, and this one is really matte, let's use this one. I just put onto this eye, and now let's use this one, and let's see if there's any difference apparent when I do this. We're at minute 22. Oh yeah. Yes, I think this looks more neutral, and this one is definitely, I think I went into wildly this time. Yes, this one does have up. I have a lash here. Just another wish for you. There it is. Can you see? I hope the lighting is enough to see the difference, that because of the rosier shimmers, this does pull more rusty, I'd call it. It does not pull more rosy, but the effect as a whole is a bit rusty, just like my English. So yes, I mean, it's a visible difference. I mean, of course, on green and blue eyes, this more rusty undertone will make your eyes pop more. I do, however, so there's more symmetry in my face. I tend to not go too colorful, so there's not too much going on my eyes. Yeah, see the difference? Maybe better here. Also wearing a yellow sweater. it's, you know, the difference is big enough for me to prefer the much more neutral shade here. So I mean, these different shades of brown are justified. Really, there's a visible difference. You do get more to, you know, substitute all these great shimmers if you choose to use them, and ultimately, of course, for your everyday eye looks, these satins, these mattes and semi mattes, these do get some more action, right? So I like it, and I guess you can see how luminous this is. So yesterday I did a little demo of the Beige eyeshadow by Chanel, and it's a rather you know, conventionally dry eyeshadow, while these leave my dry eyelids looking more alive. I'm actually I do feel a difference sometimes when I wear a lot of dry eyeshadow. I actually feel it on my eyes, so I'm curious if my eyes will feel more dry or not. I don't think so. This is very, very appropriate for me. And here I'm taking this shade over there, so it's a bit more balanced. That's an easy task. I can still see the difference, but yeah. Will I leave it like this? Or do we want to know some more action? Do we want to see more action, I mean?
Wie schaut man das?
You know what? I want to leave it like this because, yeah, I want it to stay the way that I prefer it to look, and not to be overdone. How about that? But let's do some liner. Let's see how I feel about that, the way this acts as a liner. I mean, you get a better view like this. Let's smudge this one into the lash line. Works. It works. Okay. All right. That's it for today. Have a very nice, whatever time of day it is, right? So I hope this was helpful, and talk to you soon. Bye bye.